Amy Bohigian, filmmaker in Nelson, and I've been doing it for between 15 and 20 years. Prior to Nelson, I was in the education sector, and I worked with kids of all stripes and backgrounds, and detention center educational coordinator to wilderness camp, YMCA, Muskoka, Ontario, camp director. So I kind of didn't come into filmmaking until I left that and came to Nelson and was like, well, I got to go and do something creative. And of course, this is the perfect place for that. And there was a film program that was at Selkirk the exact year I moved here. So I took that as a sign that life was lining up for me and sending me down that path. And I thought, oh, I'll give it a whirl. So I tried. And then everything after that was filmmaking for me. I just opened up a whole world and haven't looked back since then. But even prior to my life as an educator, I was a kid who just loved having a camera in their hands. I was the kid who, when their friends came over, would make skits from Saturday Night Live or push me in a wheelbarrow and I'd have a camera and all of a sudden it'd be a horror movie. From that point forward, I knew it was something that I wanted to do something with, but it kind of got to be a back burner situation when I got out of school, went to college, and then, became a teacher, educator, a facilitator. So that's basically my foray into film. And I should say I made a documentary in high school that also just kind of grounded me. Like, it just was thrilled because people were writing 10-page papers and I asked if I could do a film, and I went out to a small community outside St. Louis where I grew up and did a whole thing about the first Iraq invasion. And it was just like a mind-blowing experience because I got to put something together that I was really proud of for school and thought, yeah, this is the way I want to relate to the world. I really like having that camera in my hands and talking to people and really putting together some kind of larger piece about something I'm exploring. So I feel like a camera has got me in all sorts of places, and I hope to continue. So Southern Interior, my latest project that I've been working on and off now for 3 or 4 years, is a sketch comedy series based in Nelson, about Nelson. There's 30 different individual sketches and 6 episodes for about 10, 15 minutes each. And it's, to me, a celebration and also a satirical look at who we are as a community, that we are very earnest people here. We have a lot of big feelings, and I'm one of them too. And everyone who worked on the show understands we were writing kind of a love letter, but also in a way we were also trying to just kind of go, look, like, we have something special here, but let's just be careful with being too precious about it at the same time. I'd say 20% of our cast and crew actually had film set experience, just enough to create the structure, but then everyone else coming in was able to kind of see how it worked. And so it built this huge amount of confidence and infrastructure here that, like, we have a template now for it, which is so awesome, because one of the biggest reasons I wanted to do this was to show how much potential we have, not just in front of the camera, behind the camera as well. Like, we have so many incredible, professional, talented, and creative people here that I was like, we need an opportunity like this. So just kind of created a container. And then Gregory McKenzie, who's the producer, has all this experience. So he, knew how to hold that space. And when we had just enough people who understood how it worked, it was just the right amount of new and experience that kind of created this magical space of, like, now that we've done that, we can do anything. Yeah. We often get told what our stories are from the outside in, or a production company comes in and uses our locations, but this is all so organic, and the writing room was all local people. So, we have the experiences of the people in the sketches. So even if they're challenging sketches, because I would like to challenge, as a documentary filmmaker at heart, I feel like I'm still challenging some social norms and some long-held assumptions that people have. And so this show is about trying to help people kind of confront some of the realities of what we think is so great about ourselves. We also just have to kind of have a mirror. So I'm kind of, personally, I'm invested in that, and I'm also invested as a community. So I feel like we're, as a community, going to have to hold this project. And, I'm really excited to put it out there, but I also think it's going to be more challenging than people expect. And, comedy is, as Shelley Boyd, who is a Synec's facilitator, says, it's the, art is the tip of the spear. And I think comedy is the very tip of that spear. So I'm really excited that we're going to create some social change, but do it with humor, because that's been my dream for a long time. So having lived in the Kootenays for all these years, you know, you have a network and you know some of the people who are working around you, but maybe you've not even met them. Like the folks in action sports are amazing, world-class people, and yet we're kind of living parallel lives here in the Kootenays. And then when it comes to getting something off the ground, we can pull those resources together. Kootenay screen-based industry is incredible. Like the diversity of people we have here, the depth of skill we have, the ability to like, you know, just jump in and make things happen because we aren't in a urban center, and we've always been entrepreneurial as people living outside the mainstream kind of urban centers. We've had to make things happen ourselves. There's like 10 people who like lent us gear. There's like 7 people who were, you know, people I called with questions about who to hire for this or that, or how would you solve this problem. Like the way that people came together around that was just phenomenal, and everybody was willing to help out because they want to see something local that can be a success. I was cutting a promo called, you know, never work with animals and children, and we did it all. And like that kind of is typical of the entire show. Like we didn't listen to the rules of the game. Like we were like, sure, we're going to make a show in Nelson from the get-go. You know, nobody here has kind of a pessimistic view. We're all like blue sky thinkers because we come here with like a, you know, a dream, right? And so nobody really wants to have that person in the room that says it can't be done. So like we worked with all those animals and babies, and we had 7 kids flying out of windows onto parachute. Like we just did it all because we didn't know any different. Like no one was here to say no. Like we didn't have all those grizzled industry professional people saying that's not going to fly, right? So that's what's exciting is like it just all happened, and it was very, I don't use the word lightly, magical.